So there's a restaurant somewhere in America that only sells one thing: mac and cheese.
Now, if you're like me, you may have quite a few questions.
Why is that the only thing they serve? How good is this mac and cheese? And are restaurants like this just a gimmick?
I have no idea, but I did find a bunch of other restaurants that also only serve one thing. So in classic YouTube fashion, I'll be eating at them all to see if betting on a single dish is actually a good idea.
So we've officially made it to New York, and the restaurant behind me is called Pommes Frites, which, if you didn't know, is French for fried potatoes. With that alone, it should be pretty easy to guess what they serve here. Pommes Frites was founded all the way back in 1997 with the sole goal of bringing authentic Belgian-style fries to New York City. But the thing is, I feel like people have very strong opinions about French fries in specific, particularly about what's best. Some people feel like the thin shoestring fries are the best, some prefer curly fries, waffle fries, maybe even crinkle cut. Either way, for this place to only serve one style, that must mean they believe that their version is the perfect fry. I made my way inside, and the moment I stepped through those front doors, I was immediately hit by the savory aroma of potatoes being deep fried.
Guys, it smells so good in here. I don't want to get my hopes up, but I feel like we're off to a good start.
The inside of the place kind of looked like an old European tavern, which I thought was pretty cool. I also noticed that seating was quite limited, but I'm assuming that was done intentionally since fries don't take long to eat, and people probably just come and go.
After looking at the menu, I can officially confirm they really do only serve French fries here.
Now, one positive thing I do want to point out right away about these one-item restaurants is that ordering does end up being very, very easy.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So I got my fries, and guys, I just have to point this out. All of the tables in this place have little holes so you can put the fries in. That right there, genius.
As for the fries themselves, they look absolutely beautiful. They might be the best looking fries I've seen in my entire life. Unlike the skinny ones you'd normally get from a fast food chain, these fries are thick cut in the typical Belgian style and fried beautifully golden brown.
Now, even though food-wise they only serve fries here, they really do try to offer a bunch of different sauce options. I'm assuming this is so that people still have choices and can find something they like, which I think is a really good idea. I got two sauces right here. This one is their frites sauce, and this one is Vietnamese pineapple. I have never seen this sauce offered with French fries before anywhere in the world, so I'm curious how it tastes. Before I sauce it up though, I am gonna try one of these by itself. Because here's the thing, if this restaurant is dedicated to fries and they're bad without sauce, I'm gonna immediately consider it a flop. Here we go, my first fry at Pommes Frites. Cheers. Wait a dang minute. I was expecting these to be too potato-y and for me to not like them, but in reality, there was a good mix of fluffy and crunchy. That does check out though, because while I was doing research on the place, I learned that they actually use the double fry method when making these.
What that means is that the potatoes get fried at two different temperatures. The first fry is usually at a lower temp, just to cook the potato through, and the second fry is to achieve that perfect crunch to fluff ratio, which these fries definitely nailed.
Now let's try it with some sauce. I'm gonna start by dipping it in their frites sauce, which I believe is the classic sauce that this place serves. Little dunk, and whoa, that's a thick sauce. This sauce is fire. It's very similar to mayo. However, it's also like a little tangier and a little sweeter too. Not to get too deep, but these fries in specific also seem to be like the perfect vessel for this type of sauce. Because they're so thick, you can essentially just dunk it in the sauce and not worry about the sauce being like too much. Now let's try the Vietnamese pineapple sauce. Little dunk. Cheers. Dude, I think I might like that better than the original frites sauce. That has such a unique flavor. Right when that hits your tongue, it feels like a flavor bomb goes off in your mouth. There's acidity, you can taste cinnamon, there's a very slight heat, which I'm assuming are from chilies. It's not spicy though, it's just enough so that you know it's there. I'm actually really surprised by how much I like these. I think my only complaint would be that this was fairly expensive. I think everything all together, large fry and two sauces, came out to around 17 bucks, which I don't know if I would spend that on a weekly basis. The me right now is loving it though.
So I'm officially done with those fries, and it's about time I explain. I'm gonna be judging every single restaurant I visit today based on whether or not their single item is mind-blowing enough to make me wanna come back. With that being said, even though these are just fries, because of how perfectly they were executed and how exciting the sauces were, I would definitely come back here. I'm actually really excited that this first place wasn't a flop because it makes me so much more excited for the next few one-item restaurants. So I've officially made it to the next spot, and I'm gonna be honest, y'all, this might be the weirdest place I've ever been to, and it's called Rice to Riches. So you may have seen this place go viral on the internet a while ago, but this spot's been around since 2003 and specializes in a very uncommon dessert, rice pudding. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I or anyone else on the planet has ever craved rice pudding a single day in their lives, which does make me think that opening a place selling just that, probably not a good idea. I am gonna try to be optimistic though, because who knows? Maybe it's secretly so good that it can convert people into rice pudding fans. We'll see. Okay, hear me out. I don't think about rice pudding ever, but if I were to, I'd probably correlate it with like old people or something. With that being said, this place didn't look old at all. Instead, it kind of felt like a futuristic ice cream shop. They had these cool tables that looked like they were floating. Their logo had a flying saucer UFO vibe to it, and they even had this kiosk where you could overnight ship yourself rice pudding, which is insane. Now, as I tried to order, I very quickly became overwhelmed by the amount of flavor options. They had chocolate rice pudding, hazelnut, cheesecake, and a bunch of others I pretty much lost count. There's so many options. I'm not even sure if I like rice pudding in the first place, so how am I supposed to pick a flavor? Thankfully, I did get very lucky and ran into a viewer named Lissandro, who must have seen how distressed I looked. He was indeed the homie, and recommended a few flavors for me to try. Okay, thank you. That makes this way less overwhelming. Pudding acquired. I also found a seat in one of these cool futuristic looking booths, and low-key I'm kind of at a loss for words. I don't know how to describe what's in front of me. Here we have two different flavors of the rice pudding. This is the cheesecake flavor, and this is French toast. Now, despite how futuristic and innovative this place feels, rice pudding itself is one of the oldest dishes in the entire world, dating back to 6000 BC. Apparently, the founder of Rice to Riches, Peter Maceo, came up with this place because he wanted to transform the ancient dish into a cool modern delicacy. The question is, did he succeed? Okay. Interesting. Let's try the cheesecake flavor. The only word that keeps coming to my brain, interesting. This could be because I'm very used to eating congee, which for those of you who don't know, is basically rice porridge. Both dishes are made in a very similar way where rice gets cooked in a liquid until it's soft. But the key difference between the two is, texture-wise, congee is very smooth because the rice itself gets broken up. In rice pudding, the rice grains are cooked al dente, which means you can feel every single granule as you chew. Unfortunately, that is the part of this dish I cannot get behind. I don't like how that feels in my mouth. So my time at Rice to Riches is complete. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I did not finish the rice pudding. Here are my thoughts. As much as I appreciate and respect that someone out there is trying to transform how people see such an uncommon dessert, I also have my own preferences, and unfortunately, the rice pudding was not mind-blowing enough to make me want to come back. Now, since it was getting late, I made my way to the nearest subway station to head back to my hotel, but while I was waiting for the train... Y'all, it is so cold in New York right now compared to where I live. I'm like praying I don't get sick because of the weather change. The good news is, even if I did, I can use this nifty little thing called ZocDoc, which happens to be the sponsor of today's video. One second, looks like my train's here. Anyways, ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love. Whether it's primary care, eye care, a dentist, or any of the other 200+ specialties offered, you can easily search by specialty or symptom to find a doctor that's right for you. You can see their real-time availability and book instantly, which means there's no need to wait around. If you want to see them in person, you can do that. Or if you prefer a video visit, you can also do that too. I've literally already found some reliable doctors nearby just in case I get sick. I think this is my stop. Guys, make sure to prioritize your health and head to ZocDoc.com/Dylan or click the link in the description to book an appointment with a healthcare provider that finally listens, understands, and supports you. Seriously, finding a doctor should be hassle-free. This is the way to do it. So it's now my second day in New York, and I have heard so much about the restaurant behind me. It's called Smack, and believe it or not, they only serve mac and cheese. It was founded in 2006 by Sarita Ekya and her husband Caesar with one specific goal. I think we can all agree that mac and cheese is usually seen as a side dish, but here at Smack, they're betting on transforming it into the main entree, which feels like an impossible task. Whoa.
Okay, so right off the bat, for a place that supposedly only sells mac and cheese, the menu feels way bigger than it should be.
Instead of serving just your traditional mac and cheese, they had a bunch of different ones like a cheeseburger style, buffalo chicken, Cajun, and so much more. So my order has been placed, and I found a nice little cozy spot to sit. And while I was looking around, I just realized the color palette of this place is literally mac and cheese. I don't think I've ever seen this much orange in one building. I think my food's coming. You ready? Yes. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Behold, my mac and cheese skillet from Smack. This looks insane. Now, since Smack has a crazy amount of mac and cheese options, it'd be a shame to just try one. Thankfully, they do have something called the sampler, which is essentially what I got. It comes with 8 different types of mac and cheese, along with this card that tells me what everything is. Starting from the top right, we have the Parisian. This has brie, mushrooms, rosemary, and figs. This one is the Napolitana. It's got mozzarella, tomatoes, basil, and garlic. The All-American with American cheddar, cheeseburger, the 4 cheese. Then we have the Cajun with pepper jack, onions, celery, peppers, and sausage. The Alpine with Gruyere and slab bacon. And finally, La Mancha with fennel, onions, and manchego cheese. Obviously, there's a lot going on here, so to keep things simple, as I eat this mac and cheese and try each individual flavor, I'm gonna be rating every single variation from 1 through 5, with 5 being the best, and just giving a very brief description for how I feel, since there's only so many words that I can actually use to describe mac and cheese. Let's go ahead and start with the Parisian. I don't know why I'm nervous, but cheers. So that is definitely different from all of the other mac and cheeses I've had in my life. Because there's figs in it, it's a little sweet, and I'm not exactly sure if I like that yet. I think for the first one, we're gonna go right in the middle, solid 3.5. You can actually smell the basil in this. This one seems promising. The Napolitana is definitely more similar to the traditional mac and cheese that I'm used to, but I do taste the more Italian twist. There's tomatoes in it, which adds a nice pop of acidity. I'm gonna give this one a 4 out of 5. Next up is the All-American. This one's literally only made with American cheese. Okay, this by far is the most similar to traditional mac and cheese, because it basically is. The American cheddar does have a little funk to it, which isn't bad. I do like it more than the Parisian, so I'm gonna give it a 3.7 out of 5. Honestly, this one should be called the American, because it's literally the cheeseburger variation. I don't know if it's because of the ground beef, but I think that one's my least favorite. The texture of the ground beef didn't really hold up, so it's kind of like weird and grainy in there. Flavor was fine, 2.7. Now we got the 4 cheese. As its name suggests, it's got 4 different cheeses. So it's definitely funkier than the All-American with just American cheddar. Maybe it's because my palate isn't refined enough. Outside of the funk, it don't really taste too different. We'll give it a 3.8 since it's classic. I am excited to try this one. This is the Cajun. There's sausages in here, and if there's Cajun seasoning, I'm hoping there's like a little spicy kick to it. Okay, that one's my favorite by far. The Cajun peppers do add a nice little kick. It's so vastly different from all of the other variations that once I got to it, it just felt new. That one gets a 4.2. The Alpine gets a 3.9. I like that the bacon adds a little extra layer of fattiness, but texture-wise, it's not really there. All right, y'all, 7 mac and cheese is down. 1 more to go. Last, and hopefully not least, this is the La Mancha with manchego, fennel, and onions. Cheers. Didn't really like that one. It's got a little too much of that sour taste for me. I give it a 2.9. So we're back outside, and after eating about a year's worth of mac and cheese, I don't think I'm ever gonna crave it again in my entire life. Now I gotta admit, I did have my doubts walking in here, but after seeing the place and trying the food, not to mention the amount of people that kept coming and going, it seems like Smack has succeeded in transforming mac and cheese into a main entree, so huge props to the owners for that. With that being said, even with all of the different versions, unfortunately, there wasn't a mac and cheese that gave me a clear reason just to come back for that specific item. I'm not saying it's bad, it just wasn't for me. So far, only 1 out of the 3 places has left an impression on me, which is a bummer, but I still have high hopes for the next spot since I believe they're doing things a little differently. I hopped on the subway and made my way uptown to a little spot called Hanamazuki Cafe. I found out about this place one night while scrolling Instagram, and just from the outside, it looks adorable. Opening in 2012, Hanamazuki Cafe only serves onigiri, which is a Japanese rice ball often filled with some savory ingredient, then wrapped in seaweed. Unlike the other restaurants, Hanamazuki Cafe isn't actually trying to reinvent anything, so I'm curious what that means for the food. We'll just have to go inside and find out. So the inside of this place is definitely low-key and way simpler than everywhere else I've been, which now that I think about it is very fitting for Japanese food. So for anyone who isn't familiar with onigiri, supposedly it dates all the way back to 300 BC. At the time, people pretty much filled rice with whatever they had on hand, which explains why Hanamizuki had a few different options to choose from. I placed my order, picked up my food, then found a nice little table to sit at.
Ladies and gents, in front of me are 3 different types of onigiri. Here we have the ume, which is pickled plum, the mentaiko onigiri, which is pollock roe, and finally the sukiyaki onigiri. Obviously, these look amazing, but what I find the most interesting about this place
Is that instead of trying to reinvent a traditional dish, the owners are focused on bringing the heart of Osaka's comfort food to New York City. They even go as far as to import their rice directly from Japan so it stays authentic.
99% of people on this planet would never notice those little details, myself included, but that doesn't change the fact that those little details do matter. Anyways, that's enough yapping from me. Let's give these a try.
Starting with the ume onigiri.
This one has pickled plum along with shiso leaves, and if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the most traditional fillings for onigiri. Also, look how nice this thing is holding together. That's that rice texture for you. Anyways, cheers. Yo, the amount of flavor in that pickled plum is unreal. It's sour, salty, a little fruity. Texture-wise, the plum is soft, a little jammy. The only analogy I can make for this is the second you put it in your mouth, it feels like you're getting punched in the face, but like in a good way. You can tell the rice is high quality and cooked perfectly because it is so fluffy. And since there's so much of it, it balances out the strong flavor of the plum. Next, we have the mentaiko, which is pollard roe. There's also cheese, a Kewpie mayo, and the inside is wrapped with a fresh shiso leaf. Cheers. Dude, the flavors coming from these little rice balls is insane. This one's got a kick to it. It's a little spicy, which I very much so enjoy. It's salty, savory, a little briny because of the pollard roe. I do think the rice in this is like the star because right as the flavors get almost too overpowering, the rice like dials it back and balances the entire thing out. My brain is like malfunctioning. Last but not least, we have the sukiyaki, which I was told is the most popular one here.
These onigiri are actually filled with a thinly sliced beef that's been simmered in a sweet soy-based sauce, which I can already tell is gonna be very delicious.
I'm not Japanese, but I feel like a little Japanese schoolboy right now. Nice and salty, had a touch of sweetness to it. The beef was so tender, so soft. I cannot choose which of these 3 onigiri I like the most.
My meal is complete, and if it wasn't obvious, Hanamizuki Cafe was delightful. The main thing I love about the place is despite how powerful some of the flavors were, all of the onigiris were still perfectly balanced. There was a good ratio of rice to filling. Overall, I just really liked it. Now, after eating at all of these one-item restaurants, I am starting to think a little differently about the questions I had going into all of this. Truthfully, I expected most, if not all, of these restaurants to end up being gimmicks. But after visiting each one, it turns out it's not that simple. Even though I didn't love every single little thing I ate in this video, with so many new restaurants nowadays kind of feeling the exact same, I really respect all of these one-item spots for doing something unique and pushing their chosen dish forward in some type of way. That's what food's about, so that's really cool.